Team stationed on the Lingshan Islands. The North Koreans have assumed control. They're rounding up civilians outside. They found something buried in the rock. This discovery could change the future of the planet. The Koreans don't know what they're dealing with.
This is Sky Chief, Red Angels 25, bearing east. Getting some radar interference. Looks like an electrical storm brewing.
That's a negative, Sky Chief. Nothing on our side. Skies are clear. Over.
Roger, Command. Must be a malfunction. ETA to drop zone 3 minutes.
Hey, Nomad, you still with us?
Okay, listen up, gentlemen. Intel reports a significant military presence on the island. We have the element of surprise, so let's use it. The North Koreans can't know we're here.
They won't even know what hit them.
Can it, Psycho? Pay attention. This is a covert operation. Our job is to locate and evacuate. We're not at war here.
Not yet. What?
Prophet, do we even know if these people are still alive?
That's what we're here to find out. We lost contact with Dr. Rosenthal a week ago when the Korean military locked down the island. 2 days ago, we picked up a distress signal from the team's research vessel. Someone down there wants to be found.
Raptor Team, we're beginning approach. Stand by for green.
All right, gear up, masks on. Once we clear the plane, form up on me. Shoots on my mark.
Green in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go, go, go! See you guys at the LZ.
So, JSOC's got us chasing archaeologists now? Yeah, this'll be a cakewalk.
I've heard of this guy. He must have found something big to buy all of this heat.
Whatever. $50 says this Rosenthal ain't the real reason we're here.
Lock it up, team. Stay focused. We got limited intel going in. Opcom's being moved to the USS Constitution. Until they're 5x5, we're on our own. Shoots on my command! Go!
What the hell? You see that? Merman's in! He lost his chute!
My chute's gone! My damn chute is gone! I've got no main, no reserve.
Keep it together, kid. You're over water. Your suit should absorb the impact. Nomad, what's your status?
I'm okay, but my HUD's scrambled. What the hell was that?
I don't know, but you missed the LZ. Make your way to the beach.
On my way.
Did anyone hit the LZ?
You guys are all over the place. Check in.
Psycho here. Down and on the move.
Justice down.
Proceed to LZ.
Aztec, I have negative visual feed from your unit. Report. Aztec, report. Damn it!
Prophet, I've made it to the beach.
You hit the water pretty hard. Some of your suit functions are offline. Let me run a quick diagnostic. Your video feed is breaking up. I'm gonna try to recalibrate.
Energy critical.
All right. Your suit checks out. You're back online. Still no word from Aztec. Nomad, rendezvous with Jester and head to Aztec's location. Check your objectives display.
All right, so here we go, everyone. We had a bit of a botched insertion there, if you will. The aircraft that we flew in on is a fictional C-18A Skylord. So, yeah, I remember when this game came out and everyone was like just going gaga over the graphics. The remastered version, as you can see, updates them significantly. I mean, the original graphics were pretty awesome as they were back in the day, again, in 2007, 2008. But technology, of course, marches on, and the remastered version, I think, really just allows the graphics engine to make use of more modern hardware, software, okay, graphical textures and all that. And it adds more detailed textures, supports higher resolutions, better lighting, so on and so forth. Now, in my layman's opinion, I'm no expert, but they look good enough, the remastered graphics, but they don't really blow me away. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is like, oh my god, it's like, you know, playing Cyberpunk, you know, 2077 or whatever. No, not really. Before continuing on, I'm just going to spend some time blabbering on, giving a little bit of background. And as I said before, this will probably be the only video of this game, of this LP, where I'm actually going to be doing live commentary. Afterwards, it's going to be post-commentary, because it's just easier for me to do it that way. So, the character we're playing is Nomad, or that's his actual code name. His actual name is First Lieutenant Jake Dunn. And he is part of Raptor Team, which is part of the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, also known as Delta Force. So obviously this makes us, you know, a super elite tactical tier 1 hyper awesome Black Ops ninja operator. Other members of Raptor Team are as follows: the black guy who was talking to us on the radio, that is Prophet, or Major Lawrence Barnes. The guy with the Cockney British accent is Psycho, or Sergeant Michael Sykes, formerly of the British SAS, basically the granddaddy of all special forces. The guy who woke us up on the plane is Jester, also known as Martin Hawker. His rank is not given. And we now are trying to locate Aztec or Harold Cortez. Okay, so let's check our objectives here. Alright, so locate and extract civilian hostages. The North Koreans have illegally occupied an island in the Philippine Sea. Dr. Rosenthal and a team of 4 U.S. archaeologists are being held by the KPA, that is the Korean People's Army. Extract all 5 hostages. So we need to rendezvous with Jester. Alright, I'm going to go back to that map in just a minute.
Maximum armor.
So what we're wearing, of course, is known as a nanosuit, and I believe it's based somewhat on an actual U.S. Army concept that they were working on in conjunction with MIT, that is Massachusetts Institute of Technology, in the early 2000s, but I have no idea how far they actually got on that. It was probably just purely conceptual. Now what this game depicts is a very sci-fi, cranked up to 11 suit of powered armor. An exoskeleton, if you will. Now the game takes place in 2020, in August 14, as you saw, in an alternate universe where we have this technology and are field testing it with special missions units, like Delta Force. I don't know, the SEALs probably have their own version or whatever. More will be revealed about the nanosuit in later games of the series, so I'm not going to spoil it here, but let's go through some of the functions it has. The suit is covered in what is known as a cryfibril, or nanofibers, more colloquially. Essentially, they are artificial exoskeletal muscles, and they provide the wearer with greatly enhanced strength, speed, protection, and they have the ability to use a kind of active camouflage. So the default mode that we're in right now is armor mode, and it diverts energy into the suit fibers to harden the surface and absorb physical attacks. It also prevents the wearer from extreme heat, cold, and radiation. Strength mode strengthens the nanofibers, and the suit injects performance-enhancing drugs into the wearer's bloodstream. As a result, the wearer can jump higher, lift heavy objects, and melee with lethal force. Weapon recoil in strength mode is also reduced.
Maximum strength.
And as you can see in strength mode, the nanofibers kind of turn red. We also have speed mode, which turns the fibers yellow. This injects nanobots into the bloodstream, increasing blood flow, and it allows the wearer to walk faster than normal and sprint at near superhuman speeds. We can sprint like that.
Maximum armor.
There we go. Finally, we have cloak mode.
Engaged.
So the cloak mode is an adaptive camouflage where the suit's outer surface absorbs and bends light around it, making it virtually invisible to the naked eye, unless an enemy gets really close to you, which in case they will see the distortion, right? It's not 100% foolproof. For some reason, it also has the capability of cloaking whatever weapon you're holding, and it's essentially, it's the cloaking field from Predator, right? So we can go all like Ninja Predator on this, right? If it bleeds, we can kill it. So I'm just going to go back to armor mode, which is the default. So at the bottom right of the HUD are the blue and green bars. The blue bar represents the current power level of the suit, and of course it recharges. Okay, but it does go down when you do certain things depending on what suit mode you're in. Now thankfully the suit also regenerates its power as well as your health if you take any damage. The other info in the HUD you can see are things like ammo and grenade counters. There is a mini-map and a compass in the bottom left. Now the islands we're on are the fictional Lingshan Islands in the Philippine Sea, supposedly not too far from the Philippines themselves. A team of archaeologists, including Helena Rosenthal, were digging for something on the islands when the North Koreans invaded and took them hostage 7 days ago. As you saw in the cutscene, Helena managed to get off a distress call, which necessitated a military response in the form of Raptor Team. So our mission, which is actually one of the real-life missions of Delta Force, is to go in and perform a hostage rescue. Other missions that the real-life Delta Force could actually undertake would be things like reconnaissance, counterterrorism, and direct action against high-value targets in real life. So the weapon we're currently holding is known as the Scar. Now, if you don't know, this is the most tactical weapon ever, okay? The Scar is actually a real-world weapon, and it's manufactured by FN, but it looks nothing like the weapon that we're seeing on screen. What we have here is clearly based on the canceled XM8 assault rifle that for a while was being eyeballed to replace the M16 and M4 in the US Army before the program was canceled. Although I believe the Royal Malaysian Navy does use it in a limited capacity. So whereas the acronym SCAR in real life stands for Special Operations Forces Combat Assault Rifle, in the Crysis universe it actually stands for Superior Combat Assault Rifle. And it is the standard service rifle in the US military. It fires the hyper tactical 6.8 by 43mm round, which makes it the most powerful assault rifle in the game. It's even better than what the Koreans use. Unfortunately, ammo for it is very rare, so you have to be pretty conservative in its usage if you want to keep it. Now, with most weapons in the game, we can put various attachments on it, and we'll get more attachments for the weapons as the game progresses. So obviously we have iron sights, and we can also mount a reflex sight on it, which is very clearly modeled after an EOTech sight, an EOTech holographic sight, although if we look down it, you notice that it just has a single red dot, which more resembles like an aim point or a Seymour red dot sight, rather than the ring that you see in EOTech sights. Other attachments include a silencer, actually in reality a suppressor, which muffles the sound and muzzle flash. We can put a flashlight on it. So in certain areas, strangely, you can't see it here, but the flashlight, it can be seen against the skybox, which is kind of weird, but anyway. Yeah, the flashlight is a little bit redundant because we do have night vision, right? So if we press N, we can activate night vision, but notice that the meter at the top right shows that the night vision does have a limited battery, but it does recharge. So the flashlight is a little bit redundant. I don't know, it's there because it looks tactical or whatever, so. But the flashlight does have unlimited battery, unlike the NVGs. And also the enemy can see the flashlight beam, so even while you are cloaked. So if we were to cloak, right, the flashlight beam still emits. So the enemy can spot that, whether you're cloaked or not.
Maximum armor.
So it's almost a bit pointless to even put the flashlight on, in a way. And finally, we have this really awesome tactical attachment, which fires these special tranquilizer darts that will knock out an enemy in one hit for 60 seconds. Now, this is a magical piece of wonder gear that has unlimited ammo, so we can fire it. And as you can see in the bottom right there, it's regenerating its ammo, so we can use it infinitely. It is kind of useful to sort of trank an enemy, which allows you to, quickly and quietly kill them, right? So you don't have to kind of, if they're moving around and you manage to hit them with a trank dart, right, then you can just shoot them in the head, right, and kill them very easily like that. That way you're not wasting ammo trying to hit an enemy. Now, this game is a bit more in-depth than your average shooter. It's not quite what I would call a simulation, nor is it on par with the physics and weapons of a game like, say, Arma, but it does make good use of the keyboard real estate. Now, pressing the X button, right, you can switch between the fire selection modes, okay, as you can see. Now, for this rifle, you can select single shot. We have our tranquilizer dart mode. Again, that's dependent on the underbarrel attachment for it. And we can select full auto, or as the news calls it, fully semi-automatic, right? And then, as I said, whatever underbarrel attachment you have for the weapon currently equipped. So that is that. So that's the Scar. The other weapon we have is the pistol known as the Bauer SOCOM, an obvious nod to the character Jack Bauer from the series 24. Obviously, reminiscent of the Mark 23 SOCOM pistol, which is the most tactical weapon ever, and this naturally is the most tactical weapon ever, so it is the standard sidearm of both the KPA and the US forces for some reason. I don't know why, right? Why the North Koreans are not using some former Soviet or indigenous weapon is beyond me, but anyway, it fires 4.6 by 30 millimeter rounds. It can be dual wielded, and you'll find multiple other ones throughout the game. The fire selector switch allows you to switch between a single shot and a 2-round burst fire mode. It can equip a suppressor, as well as an underbarrel attachment that is both a laser pointer and a light. And again, they can see the flashlight, enemies can, but unlike the flashlight, the laser, despite being within the visible spectrum, is not visible to the enemy for whatever reason. So they can see the flashlight, but they cannot see the laser. Yeah, whatever. The design of the pistol is based off of a combination of the prototype HK UCP, or Universal Combat Pistol, at least regarding the slide. And it has elements of, like, again, the Mark 23 SOCOM and the Walther P99 for the frame and the grip. Interestingly, this game also counts the round in the chamber. So, as you can see, we have 20 rounds available right now, plus 80 in reserve. But if I reload, you can see we now have 21 rounds and 79 rounds in reserve. Okay, so it is counting the round in the chamber, so we get +1, right? +1 in the pipe. So that's something that you don't see too often in video games, at least back in the day in 2007. That being said, this game does count your ammo reserves as one large stockpile and not as separate magazines. I've only seen like a couple of video games like Rainbow Six or Arma do that, right? Where you have like, each magazine counts as a separate stockpile of ammo. So if you fire off all but like 1 or 2 rounds and you change out the mag, right, you do a reload, eventually you're going to come back around to that magazine with like 1 or 2 rounds in it when you reload. So let me do a little demonstration here. Let me go to cloak mode. Now, as we fire in cloak mode, yep, it immediately drains all the energy and it takes you back to the default armor mode. So you need to use cloak judiciously, and you can't just run around blasting everything in cloak mode. So a simple way to get around this is go to cloak mode, and then when you're ready to shoot, right, just switch to armor mode and then fire, and then quickly switch back to cloak mode. So that way you don't drain all your energy instantly while you're in cloak mode. Now, there will be times when you just need to quickly, you know, fire from cloak mode, but hopefully that won't be too often. So, anyway, let's get moving.
Energy critical. Maximum armor.
As you can see, we used up all our energy in cloak mode, so it automatically takes us back to armor mode.
Maximum speed.
So we'll follow this little canyon we're in right here. Someone has lit a campfire here. Looks like they've been drinking some of Lingshan's best or whatever. So we can press R to melee. If we engage strength mode, we can pick stuff up, including this washing machine. And we can throw stuff with enough force in strength mode to literally kill enemies with ordinary everyday objects, like washing machines, of course. We can also pick up enemies as well in strength mode and throw them with enough force to kill them.
Maximum armor.
So that's sort of nifty.
Make sure your silencer's attached.
It's not a silencer, it's a suppressor. Here's the thing. Okay, so again, I'm not an expert here, but a silencer, you know, if you've ever heard a weapon, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there, but if you ever heard a weapon fire with a suppressor on, it's not silent. You can still hear the pss, pss, tsh, 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 right? Especially if the bullet is supersonic, right? You can hear that crack as it goes supersonic. So it's a flash and sound suppressor. It's not as loud as an unmuffled gunshot, right? It's kind of like the muffler on a car in a way, right? So it suppresses the sound. What a suppressor does, though, because it is a flash suppressor as well, is that it kind of makes you invisible, right? You can't really see the flash. So if you're shooting from far away and from a concealed position, right, you know, maybe in the dark, then they'll have more trouble spying you because with a suppressor on, your weapon is not emitting a flash. So there's that. Then again, not every time you fire a weapon means it's going to emit a big, huge fireball. That's a Hollywood thing, right? Because they're firing blanks. Anyway, there's that.
Careful, Nomad. Enemy contact up ahead.
Engaged.
I'm going to switch.
Maximum armor.
There we go. We were super stealthy about that, weren't we?
Engaged.
There's two more enemies up here's. And there's crabs. We got crabs.
Maximum armor. Engaged. Maximum armor.
And we'll execute this man. So in Delta difficulty, you actually do have to pick up weapons. You can't just like move over them like in lower difficulties and automatically collect the ammo. So it's another, you know, facet of the Delta difficulty where you actually have to physically collect the ammo. Where did this man's weapon go? It seems to have disappeared. So the North Koreans used what is known as the FY-71 in the game as their standard infantry rifle. Now, this is the most tactical weapon ever, okay? It's based on an AK variant, mostly the AK-47 and AK-74. It has some elements of a RPK-74M, I believe, and the muzzle brake of like an SVT-40, whatever. It is chambered in the 5.56 by 39 millimeter tactical round of ultra tacticalness. It is a reasonably well balanced assault rifle and is the most common weapon in the game. However, it is distinctly less accurate and less powerful than the Scar. The mags do hold 10 fewer rounds and it has more recoil. So, and we can stick the usual stuff on it. I mean, it's probably safe to assume that North Korea in this game got most of their kit from the former Soviet Union or China or whatever. Alright, anyway, let's locate Jester and then we'll start linking up with the rest of the team. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the map for a minute here. Okay, so over there on the right, I mentioned that this game, you know, it is notable that it's a little bit more open-ended environment than your average, like, generic first-person shooter or Call of Duty or whatever. So, indeed, the environments, as far as you look at the map anyway, they do feel and look large, but in reality, you're only accessing about a third or a fourth of the map or whatever in any given mission. That is, you only have access to that much of the map. There are, in reality, pretty clear pathways in this game that funnel you down a linear point-to-point system in a way. You know, you are funneled down through the maps in a very linear fashion. So, for example, you'll run into like steep cliffs that you cannot scale at the, you know, in the map, and you cannot go too far out to sea into the water, and I'll demonstrate why that is a little bit later on. So, yeah, the map looks huge, but like we can't like, you know, go. Well, we probably could. We could probably go all the way up here, although there's nothing for us to see, although we will eventually get out there, right? But, you know, you can't just, like, swim out into the ocean forevers and evers and evers, right? So you can't really access a ton of the map, right? The game just looks big, in a way. Without using cheats, anyway. Guess another thing I should note is timber. So a number of the things in the environment are also destructible. Things like buildings, trees, right? Which you can unrealistically chop down, right, with bullets. So, or you can chop down palm trees. You cannot like just saw every tree in half with bullets, or whatever. So, yeah, but you can with palm trees. That's very convenient in a way. If you're good enough, you can, you know, shoot down a tree and make it fall on an enemy and kill them. Now, as I recall, the Mythbusters, you know, Jamie Hyneman and Adam Savage, they actually tested that myth out by trying to chop down a tree with bullets. And I believe they used a Thompson submachine gun, an M249 saw, and neither of which worked. And eventually they found out that only like a frickin' minigun was successful at chopping down a tree because it has a crazy high rate of fire, and the 7.62 millimeter bullets eventually did the trick. But yeah, I believe it was a special. It was like episode 99 or something. But yeah, they managed to do it with a minigun. So, but in reality, it's just too expensive in terms of ammo anyway, and it would serve no real tactical purpose in real life to just waste all your ammo trying to get a tree, of all things, to fall on someone, right? Just use an axe or a saw or a chainsaw, right? But hey, this is Crysis we're talking about, so that feature has some utility, if you will. All right. Let's get going. We got a flare here for some reason. Normally we can pick those up. We cannot pick that one up. I don't know why.
Perfect. This is Aztec. You copy? I read you. Give a sit rep. Something took a swipe at me on the way down. I'm caught up in the trees. Okay, Aztec. Hang tight. Help's on the way.
Maximum speed.
Alright, we're approaching Jester here.
No man, up here. Got your back. Come on, let's get to Aztec.
Maximum armor.
Prophet, I'm not alone out here.
What have you got, Aztec?
APA, four-man patrol.
Have you been compromised?
Negative, but they're close. Wait, something's...
Aztec, talk to me!
Madre Santísima!
Aztec, sound off now!
No te mire mal! No te mire mal! No te mire mal! Prophet, help me!
Nomad, Jester, get to him now! Go! Go!
Well, sounds like he got into a bit of trouble. Got in a bit of a pickle, did he?
No, man. You better stick to armor mode. You never know when you're...
Maximum armor.
Damn! What is that?
Well, let's see if we can find him. Should be up ahead. Looks like a parachute up there.
Jesus. What the hell happened here? You hear that? I don't like this, man. Shit, son of a bitch!
Jester, report in. What's Aztec's status?
Dead, boss.
Damn it! What the hell is going on out there?
I don't know, but I don't think we're alone out here.
What have you got? KPA?
Negative, sir. We got 4 dead Koreans, but there's no way Aztec killed them. Something else took these guys out. Tore their bodies up bad.
All right, pay your respects and move on. Rendezvous at the landing zone.
What about Aztec, sir? We just gonna leave him hanging here?
Negative. I'm gonna vaporize. We can't allow the Koreans to get their hands on that suit. Stand back.
Damn it. I'll never get used to that. Adios, amigo.
Jester, take care of his equipment and cover our tracks. Nomad, move out to the LZ.
Got it, boss.
I'm on it, Prophet.
Alright, so to prevent the suit from falling into enemy hands, it has
What
a
the hell
vaporize function. You know, destroys it and anyone wearing the suit. So our commanding officer has his hand on the button, right, to basically make us go bye-bye. If he so desires. As you can see, it is getting lighter out. The game does not...
Still here. Move out.
Yeah, the game does not have a day and night cycle because it's not really an open world game, but it does take course over several days. Let's move on. Like the boss man says.
Maximum strength.
Hold on, I'm seeing movement ahead. Switch to cloak mode.
Engaged.
KPA patrol. Deal with them. Nice and quiet.
So the suit does have binoculars, which are actually fairly useful in the game because it allows you to tag enemies, right? So if you don't tag enemies, right, then they won't show up on the radar below, right? Unless, of course, they're actively firing at you. So it does behoove you to kind of sit back and tag enemies before moving into any area. Observe the area, tag any enemies that you can find. You can also tag vehicles as well. Let's take this guy out. Nope. And as I mentioned, the enemies speak Korean.
Maximum armor.
He spotted me.
Engaged.
Huh?
Alright, where was this other guy? There he is. Alrighty. So, we're gonna move on here.
Nomad, I just lost our comsat to JSOC. Our whole tactical display's down. The KPA must be using a GPS jammer near your location. Find it and take it out.
Copy, Prophet. I'm on it.
Alright, so we have another objective, a secondary objective, which is to disable the GPS jamming device. So it should be up ahead. I'm going to stop this video right here, and we will continue on in the next one. So, that is our first look at Crysis Remastered, our first gameplay video. So, see everyone later.